7 de diciembre la semana pasada.
¿Y tú qué comienzas como en enero qué?
El 24 de enero. ¿Es la yeguita?
Sí,
¿Dónde va a correr?
en la Distaff.
¿En la Distaff?
En la Distaff.
Sí, pues la Distaff.
Ajá, la de...
Sí, es la Distaff.
Yo quiero te la... Ah, está dura, carrera va ahí, no llevo para que vuelta. Sweetie, baby, sweetie. Hey, how are you? All right.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah. This time might be limited. So last.
Mira, todas las tardes iba a la cuadra supuestamente a arreglar.
Ya, pareja mí, no malo.
So Serengeti Empress is a deserving entry into the Breeders' Cup. You know, she's a Kentucky Oaks winner. She's a Grade 1 stakes winner. She has run some really, really good races in defeat. The Acorn comes to mind, as well as, you know, her race at Saratoga against Kofefi, where they battled all the way to the wire in the test. And her last race, no, it wasn't her best at Parx. But there were ingredients into that race that led to that. Number one, it was crazy on the front end that day, and she got challenged in a pace scenario that was suicidal, and you know, rightfully so. We decided not to go with that pace setter, and it ended up costing us. So when you look at the Breeders' Cup fields and you look at the Distaff as well as the Filly Mare Sprint, which is a 7/8 race, you can see that there, you know, pluses and minuses to both races. Obviously, in the Distaff, you're going to face a horse that has a legitimate chance to be Horse of the Year in Midnight Bijou, but also in that race, you see a lack of pace. So getting to run our style of race with Serengeti Empress is inviting as far as the Distaff goes. In the sprint, it's logical to think that a horse like Kofefi is going to be the favorite in a race like that, and we were a neck off of her in a scenario that a lot of people think, right or wrong, that both fillies ran great, and maybe post position we were inside on a track that was notoriously bad to the inside horses throughout the meet. Maybe the result could have been different. So we do put ourselves on the same stage with her and, you know, with the sprint type horses. So no decision is going to be made that's what we're going to do. We're going to cross-enter Serengeti Empress on the 21st in both races, and then when the deadline comes to make that decision, we'll go ahead and make that decision. To have the speed to position wherever you want in a race. When it comes to one-turn race with Serengeti Empress, I don't think she's married to the lead. But when it comes to the two-turn races, I think her best weapon is her speed, as she used in the Kentucky Oaks. And if we decide to go in there, we want to feel like we can make the lead and use that weapon going two turns.
So obviously she came out of the race at Parx in great shape, or we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Because at first it was still a question if you'd go to the Breeders' Cup. I mean, did you have some concern that, she had a long year and runs very hard in some races, that maybe it was taking a bit of a toll, and so what did you decide, and what have you seen since in her training?
Yeah, I think that's a very fair question. When you take a horse and run them out there, and particularly with travel as well, you can wear them out. And so after the Parx race, we have to decide, is she the same horse, or is she had enough? And looking at her back here at Churchill Downs, where she's going to prepare for the Breeders' Cup, she's been a horse that's been a lot like her old self. She's had 2 breezes since then. They both have gone well. Physically, she looks great. Her weight is maintained. Her overall brightness of coat and color has been good. Her appetite has been good. So what we're seeing are the things we want to see before making a decision to go out to Santa Anita.
Well, obviously, the only other really bad race in her career was the Fairgrounds Oaks, and she came back out of that and won the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah.
So, she can rebound off less than her A performance.
Yeah, and the race at Parx was less than her A performance, for sure. How much of that was based on race setup? How much of that was based on the post she drew, which she was, inside again in that race? We would be interested in getting a post that's, maybe more towards the middle of the pack in either race that we decide to run in when we go to Santa Anita.